It's now time for What's Up Asheville, sponsored by the City of Asheville, with the host, Mr. Sam Parada, and here he is.
Good afternoon, Asheville, and welcome to What's Up Asheville at WRES Radio 100.7 FM, a radio show discussing projects and initiatives at the City of Asheville. I am your host, Sam Parada, Communication and Public Engagement Specialist with the City, and today I want to talk about the city's CAYLA program, and for that, sitting with me is Alex Mitchiner, and she is the Workforce Development Programs Coordinator. Hi, Alex.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. Thank you for for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Now, why don't you tell me more about yourself in general, what do you do for the city, and then we can jump into what CAYLA is.
Okay, sounds good. So my name is Alex Mitchiner. I'm born and raised from Asheville, North Carolina. I've grown up in the Shiloh community. My family has been here for generations. I grew up attending the Asheville City Schools. I went on to receive a bachelor's degree in business administration and law from Western Carolina University. And as you said, I'm the Workforce Development Programs Coordinator, and I direct the CAYLA program. And CAYLA stands for the City of Asheville Youth Leadership Academy.
That was going to be my follow-up question. So what is CAYLA? What do you do?
So CAYLA is a little bit of everything. CAYLA is a program that started in 2007 that came from City Council's Grow Your Own initiative, and it was put together with the hopes that it would lay the foundation for young people in Buncombe County to kind of get their feet wet in the workforce and kind of make some of those connections while they're very young. So ultimately, after they graduate high school, if they decide to join the workforce, they have those connections, or if they go off to college and eventually decide to come home, they still have those connections and can ultimately work in Asheville one day.
That's great. And so that explains all the high schoolers I saw around City Hall during the summertime. And these students are interns, are they employees? How does the process work?
So they technically are interns and they're temporary seasonal employees.
Yes.
For the city. So they do a little bit of everything. Each of our internships every year, they kind of change based on what our students are currently into at the moment. So we kind of deal with a variety of different departments. So sometimes we work with city departments, sometimes county departments, and we pull in a lot of local businesses as well, just so our students can see that entrepreneurship is a possible sector or field for them to go into one day.
That's great. And so every year you just recruit the students, go through the process, you find out what they want to do, and you place them in the positions you think they'd benefit the most from?
Yes, and I try to give the students like 2 or 3 options to choose from.
Okay.
I'm like, okay, I have an idea about this. Let's see if this might work for you. And normally we have some really good matches, and they build some really strong bonds with their internship supervisors. Mm-hmm. So it's been very beneficial.
And you yourself are a CAYLA alum.
I
correct?
am. Yes, I am. And it's cool. It's been full circle. I'm one of those, I guess, success stories. One of my internships was interning with the Chamber of Commerce and the Convention and Visitors Bureau when I was a CAYLA student, and that was my first big girl job after undergrad. They remembered me and they hired me.
So you did come back and you had that foot in the door because you joined CAYLA.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I think that's the most important aspect of all of what you're doing, giving the students experience, connecting them with the city and organizations around the city, and then just paying them while they're learning to do all of this. It's fantastic.
Thank you.
So tell me about recruiting. How does a student find out about this, or where can they apply?
Okay, so we have actually just revamped our website. That's part of the city's website. So we'll definitely have our application link live on our city website this year, probably in February. So when it comes to marketing, I am out in the schools. Most of the schools, not just Asheville High, but a lot of our Buncombe County schools as well. So we are kind of doing marketing and recruiting from December through February. Mm-hmm. And it just kind of like I'll sit up in some of the school's cafeterias, just giving informationals. I do school assemblies as well. It just kind of depends on the schedule of the school at the time period. And then also word of mouth travels very fast in this area. Even our current CAYLA students tell some of their younger siblings and their friends like, oh, you should definitely apply for this. So word has spread like wildfire.
That's good. And is this a program that's only for, top of the class students? Do you have to be an A student to apply?
Not at all. So we want everybody. If you are an A student, that's great. Kudos to you. But if you're not an A student, if you're an average student, if you're struggling a little bit and you've been through some things, we want everybody. We want to help give you that extra push into the right direction, to give you the support to make you that's going to be beneficial for you in the long run and help you be successful.
Yeah, we talked a little bit about this, but I was the first person in my family to go to high school and college here in the United States, and being the first, barely knowing the English.
Right.
It was a struggle for me and my family to really understand what high school was and how to shape that into a college career future. And I think what you're doing with CAYLA is giving the students that information, especially if they haven't been through the process, if they don't have any guidance. Mm-hmm. How many students like that have you helped throughout the years?
Oh goodness. Okay, so I've been in this role almost 3 years.
Yeah.
We'll say maybe 40.
Wow.
Maybe. Our students do very well when it comes to going off to college, but what I really want to pride myself on is being that person. Really, I guess with me being an alum of the program, I guess like what sticks out to me is being the person that I needed when I was a teenager.
Yeah.
And how I needed somebody to kind of help guide me, give me that little push and be like, hey, let's drift this way, let's stay on track, and for me to have my options laid out in front of me to know whatever I want to accomplish or wherever I want to go, like these are the tools I need to do that.
And then the students walk out with connections and just opportunities.
Yes, and it doesn't stop. It doesn't stop in high school. A lot of them decide to come home and connect with their former CAYLA internships, while they're in college or after college. These connections are really long lasting.
And it's not just with the city, but the community as well.
Yes.
Can you give me a couple examples, maybe,
Sure.
of students who've work with different organizations?
Yeah. Let's see. So a lot of students, probably our most popular internship site has been Slay the Mic, or the STM Multimedia. Mm-hmm. I've had several students that were really into music, photography, videography, just marketing in general. And they low-key fought over that internship. Like everybody wants to be with Slay the Mic just because they have such a great time. And their CEO, Elizabeth Garland, is amazing. And she really is able to connect with them, and not necessarily in your typical 9-to-5 sort of way, and provide them with different opportunities, that they ordinarily wouldn't have. So I had 5 students with Slay the Mic this year. I had a young lady that was really into dance, and she was able to interview some of Lizzo's backup dancers. That was amazing for her. I had another student that's super into marketing. He already has his own marketing business, and now he's handling some marketing things for Slay the Mic as well. I had a young lady last year that worked with Slay the Mic. She did such a phenomenal job with their marketing. She was hired by them after the internship, and now she wants to build like her own marketing empire.
Good for her. And now she has the experience, she has the resources. I bet. I wish I was part of CAYLA growing up in high school. I feel like everyone should go through some sort of process where they get the experience, where they learn, and more importantly, work on themselves and figure out what they really like.
We do kind of have like our own like CAYLA orientation. So before they begin their actual internships, we're together for a whole week. And we work on skills and just stuff like for them to prepare them for their internships. And one of the things we really work on is trying to uncover what they're passionate about. I love to see that light bulb moment go off for a student to be like, hey, like I could do this one day.
I'm
like,
actually good at
this is for me. So we love that.
Love it. So once a student goes through the summer with you, what's next for them? What do you keep in touch with them?
So when we're not in the middle of a pandemic, we do community service projects, typically once or twice a month. And as long as our students commit, basically as long as they finish or complete in one of those, maybe half of those community service projects, do like 3 or 4 during the school year, then they are considered, they completed the program basically, and they'll be eligible to get a $2,000 scholarship as a CAYLA student at the end of their senior year of high school.
And until then, the college application process is such a nightmare.
Woo, it is a trip. So for my students that are going into their senior year, we're actually going to start this tomorrow is the first day, our first college prep input session. So I put together a timeline pretty much for every single student that's going to be a rising senior, and I outline everything that they need to do between tomorrow and the early action deadline of the college of their choosing. I provide them with weekly updates. I'm on them like white on rice. It's a lot, not gonna lie. Before they even go back to school in the fall, we're gonna have their personal statement essays done. So that's something that hopefully it leads to them not having to be so overwhelmed during their senior year.
Yes, I remember, and this is just personal experience, but I procrastinated maybe a little too much. Then again, I didn't have someone to remind me or even tell me of all the things that I needed to do. So I love the fact that, we talked about students who are in more need than others. That seems to be a big focus of CAYLA and helping them. And I think guiding them is going to help them get access to colleges, especially early. What do you call it?
Early action.
Early, yes.
So our goal is like if I can get everybody to apply at the beginning of the college application session and abide by the early action guidelines, they are basically put into the pot ahead of time for merit scholarships, and that has been very beneficial for our students. And they've been able to rack up and get some coins. It's been great.
Can you get a full ride?
We had several students get full rides that had just moved into their colleges this past weekend.
Wow.
So it's been very beneficial.
That's life-changing what you're doing. It really affects many people. And not only them, but I assume their families and whatever impact they end up making in the city. It's all thanks to you.
Thank you.
So you said that CAYLA started way back in 2007. And I assume things have changed, hopefully for the better.
Yes.
Can you give us a glimpse of maybe some things that will be changing in the near future?
So we are looking at the possibility of expanding. Right now we have a total of 38 students in our current cohort, and outlining a plan to see what the possibility of having 50 students could look like. So
it's a big change.
Yes, a major change. One of the things that we're going to be launching this fall is also called the CAYLA Youth Advisory Board. So it's giving our students here in the community a platform to really just have a place to vocalize their concerns, discuss issues that are going on in their schools, in their communities, just for them to have a platform and see that, hey, I can make a change in my community.
Yeah.
And I don't have to be an adult to do so.
Yes. As a communications and public engagement employee, one of our goals with Your Voice, Your Choice, which is a project built around the idea of hearing more from community members who are often left out of discourse. And one of the main groups that we found was youth. And we've noticed that younger people either, I don't want to say that they don't care, but maybe they just don't know, or they don't know how to communicate and be part of the, the city and things that we do as often. So I think, with CAYLA, you're getting involved, you're doing things, and hopefully it'll push them to be,
Yeah, and I think it helps keep them informed about just whatever is going on in their community at the end of the day, just because like our youth's perspective on things is life-changing. I can't tell you how many times I've sat up at a coffee shop with a student, read over their personal statement essay, and my mind is blown, and I'm like, I've never even thought about that like that. Oh my gosh. Like, the way they question things, and not in a disrespectful manner, just out of pure curiosity, just that fresh mindset, and I love it.
They're just a group of people that oftentimes feel unheard and that their opinions don't matter, but they really do. And it's good to bring them out.
My hope is for them to see, like, hey, you have a voice in this world.
Yes.
And use it.
And so, to me, it sounds like you're building a sort of community for these students. Do they ever stay in touch, or?
Oh my goodness, yes.
Yes?
Yes. So our students definitely keep in touch for sure. So it's real. I love, like, we have so many CAYLA students that come home during the summers and work. Like, literally, I can barely run out and get a bite to eat without running into somebody that I know that's like, Miss Alex.
Oh, wow.
And I love having that moment to be able to check in, see like what they're up to in college, or what they're doing in the workforce, just to see like they're out here handling things and they're doing it.
And do you plan on have you heard of CAYLA students communicating with each other outside of maybe? How about a CAYLA student from, let's say, 2018 reaching out to a CAYLA student from 2020, or vice versa? Yes,
especially when it comes to them moving into college. We have had a ton of CAYLA students within the last few years going down to A&T, and several of them moved in. I think we've had at least 5 that went to A&T, but I've had several already there, and I let some of them know this past weekend. I was like, hey, you got some friends coming down the mountain, okay? Like, look out for them,
That's great. So you have like a little mentorship program within this CAYLA students. That's amazing. So what's, I guess what I'm trying to say is, what happens once they graduate? Is there like a CAYLA 2.0 or something of the sorts that?
Well, I want to encourage them to go on and explore all your career options. If you choose to come back to Asheville and work, woohoo, yay, we love it. But if you want to go broaden your horizons elsewhere, that's perfectly fine too. One of my best friend is also a CAYLA alum. She just completed her second master's from Tulane University and is living her best life in New Orleans right now. And she's thinking of definitely coming back, but she's been able to get away, and see what it's like living in New Orleans, being in a bigger city, but still has those connections, and she knows where home is at the end of the day.
Yeah, and that's something that I found happens a lot with people who end up not going to college, or just they don't have the opportunity to leave their hometown for some time. And it is very beneficial to broaden your horizons, learn about different cultures, different people, get out of your hometown for a while, see what you like. Have there been any CAYLA students that have left Asheville during how about during the actual process?
So yes, during the summer. So we do have some, and it's hard when they leave, just because we've, have such a tight knit circle. But I've got a couple. I have a young man that just got into a program with Clemson, and he left here his junior year, but he did complete the CAYLA process or whatever during the summer after his sophomore year.
Okay.
And I have another student that's moved to Tennessee, but her roots are here, and she comes and visits. So I send her opportunities every now and then, if there's something that she's applicable for as well.
And how many CAYLA alumni have you ran into,
Oh
or
my
do you work with any of them in the city?
There are tons of them in the city. It just depends on what business or entity I'm working with at the time
Yeah.
being. I have an awesome right-hand man at the courthouse named RJ Harvin that I'm definitely in contact with. We have several that work for UNCA, and just they're everywhere. Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, they're all over the place.
That's amazing. Yeah, and it just goes back to opportunities, connections. Once you start working for the city, and I found working for the city recently because I'm new, not just to Asheville, but it's a lot of great people, and the opportunities are really there, and you might not have the knowledge, or you might not think you have it, but we bring it out, and that's something that I really appreciate about Asheville in general. I had no idea we had so many CAYLA students here.
They're everywhere.
So walk me a little bit more over what it is they do on a day-to-day basis.
Okay. Like during the summers?
Yeah.
Okay, so it depends on where they're placed at the moment. So let me give you a quick example. So one, it depends on where they're placed at, and two, it depends on really like what their specific interests are. So last year, I had two young ladies that were really interested in possibly being veterinarians one day.
Okay.
So they interned with our nature center, and they also really enjoyed working with youth. So they kind of would help out with when it came to youth engagement programs that the nature center would put on, in addition to being able to kind of be with the petting zoo area and stuff like
Right.
that, getting to feed the deer and just kind of doing a little bit of everything.
I see the red pandas.
So it literally just kind of depends. I check in with them every week. I had a young lady that was she wants to be a teacher one day, so she interned with YTL's summer program this year. And got to see I get to really be hands-on with young kids and see like really what's it like, to really working with children, and she had a great experience and still wants to be a teacher. So,
Okay, yeah, good for her.
I'm like, go girl.
Yeah. And so do they work like full-time?
So they are
or-
part-time. They work about 16 hours a week,
Okay.
typically Monday through Thursday, and we're flexible. I know a lot of my students, they either have another job, they play a sport and have summer workouts. I've got some football players.
Summertime.
Yeah, so we try to accommodate their schedules. And then typically on Fridays, they're with me. So we on Fridays do CAYLA learning workshops in addition to CAYLA field trips.
Okay.
So we had some fun this summer. We
So
went
it's
on
like a summer camp.
kind of
on Fridays.
yeah, we get to bond with one another. Like they already know that breakfast and lunch are going to be provided, they're going to be fed, and we're going to learn and we're going to have a good time. Some of the places that we went this year, we went on a trolley tour just to get some background information on Asheville and the history. We went whitewater rafting out in Nantahala. That was
Wow.
probably my favorite field trip.
Yeah, I
the
bet. I'm so
coldest water I've
jealous.
ever been in. We really like to get our students out of their comfort zones and get them to bond with one another. I know everybody bonded that day. And then we also did a college tour out to Western Carolina University.
So you're doing everything that a lot of these kids would never even experience. And that
Yes.
is a gift that, they're very fortunate to have that available to them.
Thank you. And when we're at our workshops, we have guest speakers come in. So we really had an entrepreneurship focus this year. So I'm trying to think. We had some different business owners come talk. So one of our own city employees, Promise Bozeman, also has her own business.
I love Promise. Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, so and she inspired a lot of our girls that were really into hair and makeup, and she came, talked about her business, how successful it's been, and it showed a lot of our girls like, okay, I can do this. Look at Miss Promise. Look at how she's doing this, and for them to just see like, okay, I can do this one day, like this is something that's within my reach. So it's been really beneficial.
That's fantastic. Well, I mean, there's so much that we can go over. So is there any advice you have for any high schoolers interested in the program? Do they need anything?
I would encourage anybody that is a sophomore or a junior, please apply. Just because this program provides you with so many different connections and experiences that you ordinarily wouldn't have. And if you have applied and didn't get in, please don't be discouraged. I want to shed some light on the first time I applied to CAYLA, I didn't get in. But we really want to focus on our students that have a need, a significant need. Whether you might end up being like a first generation college student, like I am a teacher's kid. I grew up in a 2-parent household, and there wasn't much of a financial need the first time I applied to CAYLA, and one day, eventually my father was laid off of his job. And our financial circumstances changed a little bit, and I was able to get into the program. So just please continue to apply.
Yes. And, you mentioning that, again, I'm a first generation college attendee. Just from what you've told me, this sounds like it could have made a big impact on my future. I have nothing to complain right now, but yeah, I was fortunate enough to be where I am today. So yes, listen to Alex, apply for it. You'll make friends, you'll make opportunities, connections. You told me about a girl who was going to be flown out to DC.
Yes.
Was that during the
So
summer?
she had been in the CAYLA program for 2 years, and because she attended Buncombe County Early College, she kind of had like an extra senior year. And I sat her down and I was like, okay, like, is there a certain place that you want to intern with? Or, if I come across a really good opportunity, I'm going to send it your way. And she was really into finance. And in the end, she got into this phenomenal program with Bank of America that I found it. I was like, this is for her. Oh my goodness. She got accepted. And this program opened a ton of doors for her that I didn't have access to.
Yes.
She was making some sweet money, if we weren't in the middle of pandemic, she would have been flown out to DC and, everything would have been taken care of for her for the entire summer. But that really laid the foundation for her and provided a really nice segue into her final senior year. And she went on to get a full ride from Elon. So,
that only shows what CAYLA can do for you. Well, we are running out of time, sadly. I wish I could hear more of the stories and you made it. But we have to end it here. Are there any last words that you want to say, or any last message you want to, tell our viewers?
I just want to see our students as a whole in this community use your voice. People are listening.
I like that you said that, because I do want to talk a little bit about your voice, your choice. I know I already talked about it, but please go to our website. We have an engage button, and if you sign up, you can answer some questions about what topics of interest you have, and we'll just keep you updated with all the projects in the city, and you can tell us how we're doing. You can, hold us accountable. Tell us that we're not doing a good job if we're not meeting your needs. And this is for the people that often feel that their voices are not heard enough. Please go to our website at asheville.nc.gov and click on the engagement button on the top. And Alex, thank you so much for your time and for everything you've told us today. Hopefully you get a lot of applicants this year.
Thank you. I hope so. Thank you for having me today.
You're very welcome. And just before we end, you said that the website is for CAYLA. Is it not live yet, or?
The website is live. It just doesn't have our new application link on there yet.
But to find more, someone can go to asheville.nc.gov, and then how do we find more about CAYLA?
So CAYLA's information is on the community development portion of the website.
Great. Well, thank you so much. And that's all the time we have for today for What's Up Asheville. Thank you so much for listening, and please don't forget to participate in the different projects that we have at the city and stay informed about our latest news. Visit our website at asheville.nc.gov to learn more about our different departments and what we can do for you. And stay tuned, and we'll be back to talk about another city project in the near future, right here on WRES 100.7 FM. Take care of one another, Asheville.
You've been listening to What's Up Asheville, sponsored by the City of Asheville in collaboration with WRES 100.7 FM. This program will re-air every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 12:30. Thank you for listening.